Do you find men attractive?
No.
You don't find them cute at all?
No.
Are you sure about that?
That homosexuality is wrong, that something has gone wrong, and they must repent and return to God.
Well, were you repenting after preying on these men and having sexual intercourse with them? Were you?
So-called gay pride. What's pride? What's happy about being perverted? There's nothing good about that. Living in sin, right?
Yeah, the same pride you should have had instead of going and preying on these men that were coming to you for leadership. You should have had enough pride to go and find you a man who wanted the same things you wanted. So a lot of times with these older download men, they miss out on their youth because they spend so much time hiding and suppressing their feelings. See, being young and attractive is when you have the most fun as a openly gay man. So when you miss those years and you're bitter and you're upset about it, you have to take it out on someone. Y'all have so much to say about LGBTQ. Where's your wife? Where's your kids? Where's your family structure? Why are you not the example of what you're telling other people to be? So when you think about the word projection, the mental process by which people attribute to others what is in their own minds, you have to ask yourself, why would a man have such hatred and vitriol towards something, someone, or a community that really doesn't affect him, that causes no harm to him, that changes his life in any way, shape, or form? It's projection, right? So what you'll start to realize about a lot of homophobes, I won't say all, but a lot of times the call is coming from within. A lot of times they are speaking from their personal experience. A lot of times they are projecting onto you feelings and desires that they have, the things that they wish they could do publicly and not be cowardly, shamed their same-sex attraction. See, these will be the men that'll gay bash you, belittle you, demean you, and have a disdain towards your community while either suppressing their actual true feelings or engaging in the same activity just privately. You know, the download boxer Yusef Mack said it best when he was struggling with internalized homophobia, and that's why he was so judgmental, and that's why he was so hateful towards the LGBTQ community, because that's where he really belonged and that's where he wanted to be. So when you are a man who does have an attraction to the same sex, but you feel you have to hide it based off the career path you chose to take, so you start suppressing your feelings, right? Now, one thing about suppressing your feelings, it's not an easy journey. A lot of times you get angry, sad. Why am I having to hide? Why am I having to be the one living miserable while I'm watching all these other gay men live open and freely and enjoy their lives? So it creates this disdain in your head towards openly gay men because they choose not to live their life in fear. Because these men are living openly and proudly and you're not able to do that, you start projecting onto them and you start spewing your hatred. And we call that internalized homophobia a lot of times. And here we have a download grandpa. I've been waiting to talk about a download grandpa, so this is just great. Jesse Lee Peterson is an American conservative radio host, a pastor, and a broadcaster. Jesse Lee Peterson is 73 years old. This man was born in 1949. So he is past the grandpa. He is past an elder. And he is a proclaimed anti-gay rights activist. Now, let me start by saying this is all alleged. Again, we do not know of this to be true. But if you know, you know. So a few weeks ago, several men came forward to say they had sexual relationships or were propositioned by anti-LGBTQ minister Jesse Lee Peterson. The allegations came from Church Militant, which is a far-right Catholic group and website, and an investigation was done by The Daily Beast. The Daily Beast is where I got a lot of the info, and of course I searched YouTube, searched Google, I even went on Twitter. Now, in June of 2022, just last month, two of Peterson's former male associates came out with on-the-record interviews saying they engaged in sexual activities with him, while other men say he propositioned them. So I just watched a 33-minute video. In the video, one of the guys alleges that Jesse Lee Peterson became a predator, said that they were both working on their fitness goals, and Jesse Lee Peterson would ask him for pictures, wanting to see his body. He said Jesse Lee Peterson was very inappropriate with him. He also details a time where Jesse Lee Peterson got on his knees, basically wanting to perform oral sex on the man. This man alleges that Jesse Lee Peterson pulled down his pants and performed oral sex on him. while playing with his genitals also. After the encounter, he alleges that Jesse Lee Peterson advised him not to tell anyone what he was going through and that people would just use it against him. So, also Jesse's former co-host and alleged 10-year secret partner came out to speak against Jesse Lee Peterson as well. Now, Patrick Rooney has known Jesse Lee for over 30 years. Jesse Lee in a video also said that Patrick Rooney is one of the most smartest white men he knows. Originally, when Patrick Rooney met Jesse Lee Peterson immediately asked the man if he was homosexual. When the man gave him his answer, Jesse Lee Peterson began to counsel the man. And supposedly he was supposed to be counseling the man to help him, I guess I'm assuming, pray the gay away, get over the gay, return him to his natural form from when he was born. But instead, you preyed on this man and started having sex with him, allegedly, from what Patrick Rooney is stating. What I find so strange about this is Jesse Lee Peterson was the Jesse was the minister for Patrick Rooney and his wife's wedding. So you officiated the marriage with this man and his wife while allegedly having sex with this man, preying on him. You were supposed to be a counselor, helping him to get over it, but you used it to your advantage. This is really sick. This is sadistic, twisted, corrupt. Then after having sex with the man, he would tell the men, now you're born again. Jesse Lee Peterson also has an organization called BOND, stands for Brotherhood Organization of New Destiny. Now, several members who attended BOND allege that Jesse Lee preyed on them as well. It's also alleged that he stayed in a home with several men that are a part of his BOND organization. Woo, baby. So let's get into it. So you have a 73-year-old allegedly heterosexual male, never been married, no wife in sight, no women in sight. He has one child, but thinks that he can come and counsel couples and tell others how to make their relationship work. So my first thing would be to any heterosexual couple, how can you take advice from a 73-year-old man who's never been married, has no women in sight, has a child out of wedlock, made a woman a single mother, obviously, but he's gonna tell y'all how to make y'all relationship work? This is delusion. Y'all let these black men sell y'all a fantasy too many times. They don't gotta prove nothing. All they gotta do is talk that talk. And a lot of things they talk, they don't even believe it themselves. We just talked about that with Pastor Dwayne Dawkins, preaching all that anti-LGBTQ stuff while having gay sex with gay porn stars on camera. What you will learn is a lot of times, although these men may suppress the feelings or they may suppress the actions, they may not act upon it. They can't get these things off their mind. So when they can't get these things off their mind, they start speaking out against it, start bashing it, because that's the only way they can cope with their desires. I think men have always been on this man's mind. There's all kind of allegations from him groping men, from him looking at men. They say they're walking in rooms of him hugging and kissing men. Like, let's just be honest, I'm looking at this man and I see an older gay man. I see an older gay man. I see a man who wished he could have lived in his truth when he was young, and maybe he was cute, and maybe he was attractive, and maybe he had access to the boys he wanted. But he suppressed those feelings until he became an old grandpa. And at that point, he wasn't attractive enough to get the men that he wanted. So he started preying on men who were coming to him for counseling, allegedly. This is another man I will have no respect for. I have no respect for these men who preach against LGBTQ while having gay sex, while indulging in gay sex, while preying on men who were trying to live heterosexual lives. That's what you said men should do, right? You said men should live heterosexual lives and be with women and marry women and create families. First of all, why didn't you do it if you felt that's what men should be doing? Second of all, why would you prey on men who are trying to do that? This was a man who said homosexuality is wrong, and those who live homosexual lifestyles then has gone wrong within them and they need to repent. So my question to be with him, did you repent? Did the repent work? It worked. Because here you are. This was also a man who bashed gay pride. He said, what is prideful about living in sin? You should be repenting that we're living in sin. He also called being gay perverted. Let me be very clear. Being gay is not perverted. Perverted is preying on men that are coming to you for counseling. What's perverted is preying on a man whose wedding ceremony you officiated between him and his wife, just for you to engage in gay sex with him for 10 years. What's perverted and predatory is preying on men in your organization who are coming to you for help and guidance and leadership. I'm telling you, that internalized homophobia is real. These men will make up all type of situations and scenarios in their head to justify what they're doing while still condemning others. But you're doing the same thing, sir. This was a cowardly ass man who was not man enough to stand in his truth and thought that he had the right to condemn and belittle other men who were willing to live in their truth. While he's just the same as them, while he's wanting to engage in the same activities as him, while he wished he could go to the gay pride festival and be happy and live in his truth and touch and kiss and feel all over men without the guilt, without the shame, without the embarrassment. This is a man who will probably take it to his grave. See, instead of spending his time uplifting and supporting the men who he does like, he spent more time condemning and belittling the people he disagreed with. And that's pretty unnormal to me. Unnormal for a heterosexual man to be so consumed with LGBTQ issues all day, especially when it doesn't affect him. Again, this is a man who's never been married, who's never had a wife, who's never shown us any type of family figure. My question is, what would be the reason a black heterosexual man would have an issue with LGBTQ? Like, there are so many other things heterosexual black men should be concerned about. LGBTQ should be the last of your worries. LGBTQ don't cause you any harm. They are not against you. They are not attacking you. The only reason I could think LGBTQ would be on a man's mind that much is if he's part of that community, or he identifies with that community, or he likes something over there. There's a reason why it can't stay off your mind. What makes this story so unique to me is every man that's coming out against Jesse Lee Peterson are non-black men. First of all, we can already tell he has a love of whiteness. He's one of those black men who wish they were white. He thinks being in close proximity to white men is going to benefit him. And maybe it has. But he also has an attraction to white men as well, because these are all the men he's allegedly had these sexual acts with. I will never understand how these men can really live with themselves bashing a community that you are a part of, making money off of belittling and demeaning a community that ultimately you belong to. This is what the Downlow brother does. They are struggling. They don't know how to cope. They can't see it through. And they'll destroy everything and everybody around them to keep a secret that's really not even a secret, you know? You call yourself a pastor. This is a disgusting elderly grandpa. I hope these men file charges against him if this is true. I don't think he deserves to have a voice or a platform. What you did to these men are horrible, especially the married man whose wedding you were a minister for. That's disgusting to me. How could you sit in this man's wife's face knowing that you were preying on her husband and having sex with her husband for 10 years? At the moment, Jesse Lee Peterson has not responded to the allegations. He says it doesn't affect him, and he's attempting to move past it. The story is still developing, so we are definitely going to keep a watch and an eye on it. I'm pretty sure there are more people to come and more stories to be told. So the takeaway from this video: internalized homophobia is real. When these men aren't man enough and courageous enough to stand in their truth and live the life that they want to live, they start condemning and belittling others for living in their truth. That's why he'll go and bash a whole community of people while doing the same things that they're doing. That's why he can portray himself as a leader, that he's going to give these men some type of guidance, while really just preying on them and using these men to fulfill his sick fantasy or his desires, that he's not man enough to go to a gay bar and meet a gay man that may want to engage in the same activity as him. It's cowardly. It's cowardly. This man is a scumbag. He's disgusting. I'll keep you posted. Like, comment, subscribe. See you next time.